factoring completely, so we're going to kind of tie everything together that we've learned. Okay, so we've learned 3 different types of factoring. 3 different types. Anybody know one of them?
One we learned yesterday.
How many parts did it have yesterday? 3 parts. All right, so we'll start with that. So trinomial. All right, so trinomial has 3 parts. And on trinomials, that's where we kick out the last number, right? Remember that from yesterday? We kick out the last number to the side. That's how we do that. Okay, so trinomial, kick out that last number. Okay. Somebody said it, what? GCF? What does GCF stand for? Greatest common factor. All right. And when you get the GCF, you also have to divide your big numbers and subtract your little numbers for a GCF. All right. And there's one more. We haven't talked about the name of it a lot. All right, but it's called difference of squares. Difference of squares. Okay, so the initials to this are DOS, dose. What does dose mean in Spanish? 2. So difference of squares will always have 2 parts. And the way I remember that is dos is 2 in Spanish. So difference of squares will always have 2 parts. What does difference mean it will also have? It will always have a subtraction sign. Good. It will always be subtract in the problem. And the squares, what does that come from? What's the squares come from? What do I mean by squares? It's the perfect square. So it'll always be a 1 or a 4 or a 9 or a... So 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 5 times 5 is, and so on. So it'll always be this set of numbers that I'll draw from. Okay? All right. And this will make more sense when we actually do a couple problems. All right. So, all right. So this first one, okay? How many parts does it have? 2. It's got 2 parts. Okay? It's got 2 parts. So it's probably going to be difference of squares because it's got 2 parts, but you need to double check that the numbers are on the list. So let's see what these numbers are. 16 and 49. Are 16 and 49, are they on our list of perfect squares? Yes. Okay, so write down this first problem. 16x squared minus 49. So this one is a dose, a difference of squares. Okay? Another thing that's helpful to remember with dose is it will be 2 parentheses. It will be dose parentheses. Okay? And you're splitting it up. You're splitting it up. What times what gives you 16? 4, and you put it in the front because 16 was in the front. And x squared splits into x and x. All right? So you're splitting it up. 49 splits into 7 times 7. And remember, the only way to get negative 49 is to have a positive and a negative. The signs are going to have to be different for difference of squares. Okay? All right, question on that one. All right, number 2. 36x squared plus 48x to the 5th. How many parts does it have? 2. It's got 2 parts. So I could check difference of squares, because difference of squares has two parts. The problem is it would have to have a subtraction sign. Does this one have a subtraction? No, it cannot be difference of squares. Also, 48 is not a perfect square. There's not the same number that gives you 48. So this one's not difference of squares. Does it have three parts? It can't be trinomial. What's the only one left? GCF. Okay. What goes into 36 and 48? Good. What is it? 12. What else goes into both of them? Very good. X squared is the most they can have in common. That one's got 2 x's and that one's got 5 x's. The most they can have is 2 x's. Okay? All right, what's the next step I do on that? Okay? I do ds, so I divide my big numbers and subtract my little ones. What's 36 divided by 12? And what happens to x squared and x squared? Okay. Plus, what's 48 divided by 12? And x to the 5th, x squared, I subtract my little numbers, that gives me... What's the last step I have to do? And what goes out front? All right, number 3. It has 1, 2, 3 parts. Has 3 parts. So if I look at my list, 3 parts is a trinomial, and I kick out the last number. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick out the last number. Kick out negative 20. That's what we did yesterday. All right, what are some combinations that give me negative 20? Very good. I heard 5 and 4, but to give me negative 20, it has to be negative 5 and positive 4. That one would work to give me negative 20. What else? Negative 10 and positive 2. What else? Good. So those are some combinations that give me negative 20. All right, remember the next step is to add. What's negative 5 plus 4? What's negative 10 plus 2? And what's 10 plus negative 2? Okay. I want the combination that gives me positive 8. So I've got 10 and negative 2. Okay. All right, so I write my answer. 2 sets of parentheses. X squared, remember, splits into x and x, and I've got positive 10 and negative 2. Okay. All right, so this is what we've learned so far. All right. All right, so now we're going to put a couple of the combinations together in one single problem. Always, always, always try to GCF first. Okay, so I need you to write that down on your paper. Always try to GCF first. Always, 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 always try to GCF first. Try a GCF. What are you going to do first? What are you going to do first? What are y'all going to do first? Thanks. Thanks, Shakira. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. Here it is. What do you always try to do first? All right. Okay, number 1. Write this down. 2x squared minus 8. All right, 2x squared minus 8. What are we doing first? GCF. What goes into 2 and 8? 2. So for GCF, I'll write 2 under both of them. Okay? Can I write an X under both of them? No, because they both don't have it. All right, then I divide. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Drop down your X squared. Negative 8 divided by 2 is, okay, I put that in parentheses. What goes out front? 2. All right, here is what we're adding on. If you look in the parentheses, that will factor further. That will factor further. How many parts are here? 2, and there's a subtraction sign. This one is difference of squares. So I do 2 more parentheses. 2 more parentheses. And this one is one that splits. X squared splits into X and X. You can put a 1 in front if you want, because 1 times 1 is 1. How does 4 split? So negative 4 would be a positive 2 and a negative 2. And you drop down that 2 in front. So that's the answer. That's the answer. Drop down that 2 in front. Don't forget about the 2 in front. Okay. All right, number 2, 4x to the 4th minus 4x squared. All right, Elijah, what am I doing first? Good. What goes into both of them? 4. Anything else I write underneath both? X to the what? Very good. Okay. All right, Faith, what do I do next? Sorry. Shakira, what do I do next? What does that give you? Keep going. Very good. And those x's cancel. Okay. Zach, what else do I have to do to that? All right, 4x squared goes out front. 4x squared goes out front. Okay, today you're going to have to pay attention and see if you can do anything else. Riley M., will x squared minus 1 go any further? Yes. That one is difference of squares. Those are perfect squares. So I do 2 sets of parentheses. Riley M., how does it split up? Good. And what do you have to drop down out front? Very good. 4x squared drops down. All right, and that's your answer. Okay. All right, number 3, 12 a to the 3rd minus 27a. All right, Stephen A., what do I do first? What goes into 12 and 27? Close. 6 doesn't go into 27. So something smaller. 3. What else do I write under both of them? A. Okay. Samari, what do I do next? All right, what does that give you? Minus 9. Okay. Chase, what else do I need to do up here? What goes out front? All right, Madison, can that one go any further? Yep. These are both perfect squares. Madison, how does it split up? Excellent job. Positive 3 and negative 3. And drop down your 3a out front. Don't forget about what's out front. See? All right, number 4, 9y squared minus 81. Brandon, what do I do first? Good. What goes into both of those? Anything else? Nope. Okay. Jack, what do you do next? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know what 81 divided by 9 is? Uh-huh. Good. Put it in parentheses, and the 9 goes out front. Riley K, can it go any further? Yep. To what? And put your 9 out front. Okay. Good job, guys. All right, number 5, a to the third minus a. All right, Hallie, what do you do first? All right, what goes into a to the third and a to the first? Good, a to the first. Okay. Stephen R., what do I do with the 3 and the 1 right here? Add them or subtract them? All right, when you're dividing, you're going to subtract. So that's going to give you a to the second. Guys, these cancel, but I have to put a 1. So I put minus 1 and put it in parentheses. Okay. Samaria, can a squared minus 1 go any further? Yep. What can it split into? Good. And what goes out front? Good. Okay. All right, any questions on those? All right, we're going to do some more. Who's excited? I'm excited. All right, number 6, 2x squared minus 2x minus 40. All right, Hallie, what are you going to do first? Good. What goes into 2x squared, 2x, and 40? 2. So I write a 2 under both of them. Do they all have an x? No, they don't all have an x, so I can't put an x under them. All right, so just a 2. Jack, what do you do next?
Put like x squared minus x squared minus 20.
So this one's just x to the first. Yeah, okay? Put 2 out front. Okay, guys, on this one, how many parts are left inside? 3. There's 3 parts left inside. When there's 3 parts, that's when you kick out the negative 20. Kick out the negative 20. Kick that out to the side. Kick out the negative 20. All right, Zach, what's a combination that multiplies to give me negative 20? All right, Elijah, let's go ahead and test that one. What's negative 5 plus 4? What am I looking for? What can I put right here? So I'm looking for, so do I have what I want? Yes. Okay. All right, so I'm ready to go ahead and put it in final form. Ready to put it in final factored form because negative 5 and 4 works. So guys, I'm going to put x minus 5, x minus 5, and x plus 4. And what has to go up front? 2. And that's your answer. All right. All right, number 7, a to the third minus 10a squared plus 21a. Chase, what do you do first? What goes into all of them? What else? A. They all have an A. Every single one of them has an A. Okay. All right, Stephen A. What do I get when I divide? What am I going to have left? Plus or minus? Minus 5. Uh-huh. So drop down the 21 because there's nothing to divide it by. And what happens here? Cancel. Okay? Put it in parentheses. Jeremy, what goes out front after I put it in parentheses? The A. Very good. Whatever you write underneath. Okay?
How does 5?
Oh, my fault. My fault. Thank you. So this is just 10 divided by 1, which is what? 10. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, Brandon, how many parts are left in the parentheses? 3. What do I do when I have 3 parts? Good. Kick out the 21. All right. Madison, 2 things that multiply to give you 21. Good. Madison, what happens when you add 7 and 3? You get 10, positive 10. Madison, what do I want? Negative 10. Is there anything I could do to get a negative 10? So there's 2 ways to multiply to give me positive 21. I could have a positive times a positive, or I could have a negative times a negative to give you a positive. So they could both be negative. All right? Riley K., what's negative 7 plus negative 3? Negative 10. Okay. All right, so Riley M., what combination do I want? All right, Shakira, try to write my final answer for me. What would it look like? And what goes out front? Very good. Anybody have a question? All right, number 8, 2x to the third plus 8x squared plus 8x. All right, Samaria, what goes in, what do I have to do first on number 8? Good, what goes into all of them? Anything else? 2x. Okay. All right, Riley M., help me with my next step. What would it be? So that gives me what? Good. All right, I'm gonna kick out the 4. Jeremy, what are 2 things that multiply to give you 4? Jeremy, what happens when you add 2 plus 2? So that's the combination you are looking for. Zach, how would you write your answer? How did we multiply to give us 4? What? Okay, is there anything else that needs to go in my answer? The 2x has to go out front. 2x has to go out front. Okay. All right, number 9, 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. Thank y'all for writing notes. I really appreciate it. All right, Brandon, help me with number 9. What do I do first? By what? All right, Brandon, what do you get when you divide it by 2? Good. Riley K., what do you do next? Good. Jack, what multiplies to give you 3?
3 and 1.
And when you add that, it gives you?
4.
So does that work?
Yeah.
Yep. So Stephen A., how would your answer? What would your answer look like? And one more thing you need in your answer. 2. Oh, I get what you're saying now. Okay, anybody have a question on that? Okay, if you will pay attention on this one, you don't have to write it down. If you will pay attention, please. Okay, so eyes up here. I've got 5x to the 4th, 65x cubed, and 200x squared, which, I mean, those are big numbers, lots of stuff going on, looks bad. However, it's multiple choice. So that makes it a little nicer. What do you reckon goes into 5, 65, and 200? 5. It's always great to test that number. Okay? So 5 goes into all of them. What else goes into all of them? X squared. So which answer choice can I already mark out? Because you know 5x squared has to go in front. Okay? All right, so when I divide this, I get 1x squared, negative 13x, and then here, let me do some long division real quick. 5 goes into 20, and 5 goes into 0. All right, so you get positive 40. Okay? All right, so I kick out the 40. What times what gives me 40? 8 times 5, what else? 40 and 1, what else? 10 times 4, thank you. Okay, what's 8 plus 5? 13. What do I want it to be? So what does it have to be? Negative 8 and negative 5. So if you look at your answer choices, which one is that? D. Okay. All right. Again, if you will keep paying attention, you don't have to write this one down. 9x to the 4th plus or minus 729y to the 4th. Again, crazy numbers. What do you guess might go into both of them? 9. So let me test that. So 9 into 729. Will 9 go into 72? How many times? So 9 times 8 is 72, gives you 0. And 9 goes into 9? 1. So it does work. All right, so both these divide by 9. What answer choice can you mark out? D and C. Okay? All right, so when I divide this by 9, I get 1x to the 4th minus 81y to the 4th. Do y'all agree with that? Okay. Cannot go any further. Yes. Okay. How do you split up x to the 4th? All right, how do you split up 81? What else do I need? Y squared. Okay, so if you look, neither of your answer choices quite match. This one is like a ridiculous problem because this one splits even further. Now this one doesn't split. Anybody know why this one doesn't split? Because it has a plus. Good. So this one splits. It's another difference of squares. How does x squared split? How does 9 split? And y squared is y and y. So the answer is A. Okay. Last 4. Don't shoot me. Last 4. We can do it. It's good for you. Y'all love math. All right, number 12, 3x to the 3rd minus 21x squared minus 54x. So if you'll write this one down, last 4 to write. All right, Elijah, what do you have to do first? What do you think will go into all of them? 3? Anything else? Good. All right, Chase, what do you get when you divide by 3x? Let's do long division right here. 3 into 54. 3 goes into, 3 goes into 24. 8. Okay? So it gives me negative 18. Negative 18. Okay. All right, Shakira, next step. All right. Good. Negative 18 gets kicked out. Madison, what multiplies give you negative 18? Good. And that gives you negative 7, so that will work. Hallie, how do you write your final answer? All right, we're just going to do 13 and then we'll stop because I think y'all have the hang of it. So let's do 13 and then we'll stop. 18m squared minus 8. Shakira? What goes into 18 and 8? Good. And there's nothing bigger. Because does 4 go into 18? No. Does 8 go into 18? No. So just 2. Okay. When you divide by 2, Stephen A., what does that give you? Yeah, divide by 2. 9. What do I write beside the 9? What else? All right, Elijah, how many parts are in the parentheses? So what do I do when it has 2 parts like that? Do I kick out the 4? No, I just split it up. How does it split? You got to split. 3m goes in both of them. Yep, and what goes out front? Good. Do y'all want to do the next 2? All right. Oh, yo.